So good morning, everybody. My name is John Cruz. I am the Uniscript teacher in Rock Point Community School. And today I will be introducing the work we do with Uniscript English. And as you can see here, I have a mixture of Uniscript or just those weird symbols and English letters. And I'll be explaining a little bit about it in a while. So the title of this conference is Uniscript English. You can go one more, Miss Jones. Cracking the Code for Heritage Language Revitalization and English Learners. And as I said, my name is John Cruz Febres. So as you can see here, there are some samples of Uniscript and some samples of the student work. And I like to start with this phrase from a parent who came to me and said, "Hey, what is this alien alphabet my daughter's learning in kindergarten?" And it was funny to me. He was laughing, and we had a good time laughing. And then I got to explain it to him. And when he understood how important was Uniscript or the program that we're following for building phonemic awareness, it was a different thought. So a child's skill in phonological and phonemic awareness is a good predictor of later reading success or difficulty. And that's a phrase that we have been listening everywhere, that phonemic awareness is one of the greatest predictor of reading success. This one's from Reading Rockets, but if you look it on the internet, it's everywhere. So Uniscript Alphabet is a literacy support program that was developed at the University of the Nations in Kona, Hawaii. And on some of those pictures, you can see some of the symbols. The first picture is symbols that were developed for the Hawaiian language, and they are adapted to each language and culture. On the bottom one, you can see some of the symbols that are mixed up that we use in English, and we'll be learning more about that in a minute. But what Uniscript does, it's developing symbols that graphically reflect the articulation of the sounds. So what we do is we have an alphabet that resembles the movements of our mouth while we are talking. So that those movements or that articulation of each individual sound in our language is reflected on those symbols. So in Rock Point Community School, it is being used as a multi-sensorial tool to develop phonemic awareness and introduce students to the alphabetical principle. So one thing we do, the first one is work a lot of phonemic awareness, and we do it in a broad approach. They can become aware of it by feeling it. They can also have movements that resemble the movements of their mouth while they're talking, and they can also see it in a written form. Okay, and we're gonna talk about that approach in the next slide, but in this one, I want to show you the main division that we have in Uniscript, and it is the vowel sounds and the consonant sounds. So you're gonna see a lot of different symbols, but the main division is that the vowel sounds are made up of lines that represent the airflow. So those lines can be 1, 2, or 3. They can be straight or they can be bent down. And some of them will have a circle on top. And they will represent, 1, the airflow. So whenever you see a line, that means air flowing out of your mouth. And that is what a vowel is. A vowel is a sound that comes out of your mouth with no blocking. There's nothing blocking it. And then each vowel can be closed, mid-open, or wide open. So in English, we have also long vowels and short vowels, and that we're going to represent it by making it stretch or making a straight line or a bent down line. So you're gonna see that too. On the other side, you have the consonant sound. And the consonant sounds will be more like symbols or shapes, and those are gonna represent the manner of articulation or those parts of our mouth that are articulating the sound. So you have the very first one, it looks like an oval shape or maybe like a football shape, and it's actually representing your lips, and your lips are closed. Then the second one, you have a tooth shape. The third one, you have a triangle that is going to represent the tip of your tongue. And then you have an angle shape that is going to represent the back of your tongue. And I know that is not all the sounds that we have in English, but that is a basic approach to it. We're going to see it in a second. And we're going to see how do we approach this with the kid. In Uniscript, we do auditory, we do tactile, kinesthetic, and visual. And this is something that we start from kindergarten. They said, okay, here we do auditory, I can hear the sound. Tactile, I can feel the sound. We do kinesthetic, I have movements for those sounds. And I also do visual, I can see the sound at the end. So we bring up a word, it can be the word Pete, the name Pete, and we start by sounding it out. It's a CVC word. Eat, Pete. But after that, I ask them to identify what is moving in their mouth in every sound they make. So the first sound is, if you do it 1 or 2 times, you're gonna notice that your lips are moving. Your lips are closing and blocking the air. So for that one, we use the oval or the lips symbol. Then the middle sound is E. For that sound, I can tell is a vowel because there's nothing blocking the air coming out of my mouth. So E, the sound E is not wide open. It's not even mid-open. It's almost closed. So we use one line. And since it is a long vowel, we use a straight line, E. So we have an E. The last sound, it was E. When we do that sound, the tip of our tongue is blocking the air. So for that sound, we use a triangle. And it represents the tip of my tongue blocking the air. Now I can do it with my hands. Eat, Pete. We can go to the next word. The next word is tape. And we can use an actual tape. We can show a tape, and then we're gonna sound it out. A tape. And again, we're gonna check on every sound and see how am I articulating that specific sound. So the first sound is T. And that sound, when I do it more than one time, I notice that my tongue, the tip of my tongue is blocking the air. Wait a minute, I know it. It's that triangle. Then I have A. That one is mid-open. We're gonna use 2 lines for that sound. A. It's mid-open and we're using straight lines because it's a long sound. A. And the last sound, I already know it too. it's that that oval shape, or that where my lips are blocking the air. So the third sound is that, I'm sorry, the third word is pet. And the word pet, I'm going to sound it out. I can show a picture of a pet. And after I show it, we're going to move into sounding out that word. Pet. And again, the students are already going to know that the first sound, it's using my lips. My lips are blocking the air, so it's going to be. And the middle sound is kind of different. It's not anymore a long sound, but they're going to say, the middle sound was eh, eh. It's a short sound. That's why we're using their two bent lines, eh. And it's two because my mouth is mid-open. If it was wide open, it'll be something like ah. But it's mid-open, and it's a short sound, eh. Now the last sound, the ending sound is t. Again, I know that one. We've been using it here, and it's the tip of my tongue blocking the air again. So that's gonna be eh. T. Now try to repeat it with me, just one time, each word. The first word is eat, heat. And while we do that, we can show the students how to follow from left to right and also from top to bottom. Second word, tape. The last sound is pet. So right there, we introduce our students, and it's not this that fast, but we start introducing our students to following from left to right, from top to bottom, understanding that a symbol is representing one sound that I'm producing. So that's basically the alphabetical principle being introduced there, using logical symbols, or symbols that are directly attached to the way I move my mouth. So now we can go to the next slide, and we're gonna see a complete chart of what our kindergarten students learn after 20 lessons. On this side, we have E and A right there. Then we have the short vowel sounds. We have E, E, A. Then we have, some of them will have a circle or half a circle on top. And that will mean that your mouth is gonna be, or your lips are gonna be rounded. So this one's O, O, and those are still short. And on this side we have ooh and oh right here. Those are long sounds with rounded lips. On the bottom, we have a special set, and those are changing vowels, or phonetic or phonemic diphthongs. And even when this one, we know it as a long vowel sound, it's actually a changing vowel or a diphthong. That one is I, so it starts wide open and it moves towards the middle of your tongue, raising up and almost touching the roof of your mouth. I, the one in the middle is oi, and the one at the end is ow. It starts wide open and it moves towards rounded lips. So those are the vowel sounds in English. Then on this side, we have the consonant sounds. And you're gonna see that you have a big set right here with lip sounds. And that is because we don't only have as a bilabial or lip sounds in English. We have b, we have and w. And what we do is we add a dot in the middle for those sounds that add voice. And if the sound has voice, but it also has nasalization, we add 2 dots on top. So our students, they know that all of these represent my lips, but each one of them has a different function. This one is my lips, no voice. This one has my lips blocking the air, but there's some voice here. And they can feel it. And then this one is my lips blocking the air, but my voice is coming through my nose. And down here, we have one that has both of my lips rounding up, but they're not closing completely. So that one's gonna be w. After that, they apply the same principle to all of these. You have the teeth and interdental consonants. And you have the tip of the tongue consonants. And they go like this. D, same concept. Voiced and nasal. Here, on this side, they have ch and j. Back here, we keep going towards the back of our mouth. And you have that angle shape that represents the back of your tongue. G. And then down, this one is it represents your throat, is this the sound. On the bottom, there's a special set. These ones are the hissing and shushing sounds. And zzz. And then you have sh and zh. And you also have these 3 sounds that represent the way your tongue moves to do those. Oh, when you do that sound, your tongue gets narrow. When you do that sound, your tongue curls back. And yeah. When you do that sound, the middle part of your tongue raises up just enough to barely touch the roof of your mouth. Yeah. So our students learn all of that in 20 lessons. And the approach we use is that they sound out the word. After they sound it out, we focus them into a specific sound of the word. It can be the beginning, middle, or ending sound. And they're gonna spend some time discussing what they feel it's happening inside their mouth. So we don't give it to them, but they discover it. And then we build the symbol and the hand gesture together. So at the end, again, is an auditory. They hear the sounds. After that, they do tactile. They feel it. They close their eyes. They look at a mirror and try to see how they're articulating that sound. After that, they go towards a kinesthetic approach where they develop a hand gesture. And at the end, they learn the symbol, the written symbol. We can go to the next slide, Ms. Jones, and we're gonna see a little bit more about it. And after 20 lessons, 20 Uniscript English lessons, the students can use this tool. And we call it a multi-sensory tool because it uses auditory, tactile, kinesthetic, and visual. And after those 20 lessons, they can identify and correctly produce all English sounds. Regardless of the spelling, they can do the phonemic awareness part. They can also describe the way the sounds are articulated, and that has even helped some of the students that come into kindergarten and they have problems, speech problems, where they cannot pronounce the R, or they cannot do the sound or G. And being introduced to that manner of articulation, they become conscious about it, and they start trying harder, and they actually start doing it and producing those sounds. They can also segment single syllable words into individual phonemes, and they can manipulate those sounds in written and oral form. And at the end, they can use all those skills to read and write phonetically. And this is very important because in kindergarten, you basically have a restricted way of writing on the regular spelling or the regular alphabet because of the spelling, the English spelling, which is so complex and rich in forms and different graphemes and different ways of spelling a word, or different ways of spelling the same sound. Whereas with Uniscript, our students can just think of of whatever they want to write. They can sound it out and they can put it down into a paper. They can write it down in a paper. So here you see, this is a second grader who was writing about 9/11, and it reads like this: "Today is 9/11. When I see the video, I feel sad because a lot of people passed away. I feel happy because at the airport they have machines that check your bag. The the terrorist bag. The terrorists brought guns and knives. The terrorists killed the police, the pilot. I'm sorry." So right there, this girl, she just expressed herself, and that took her about maybe 5 minutes to complete that. And she was not worrying about, how do I spell this? Does it go with this grapheme or that way? No, she was just writing it down. After that, we moved towards spelling it and towards writing it into regular alphabet. But now let's go to the next slide and see what follows after they learn how to read and write in Uniscript. So after they complete their 20 lessons, we try to target decoding and encoding skills. And then to do that, we introduce a phonics sequence. So they already have their phonemic awareness skills mastered. And what we do is we start building their phonics on top of that. And you can see this little GIF that is moving and it's changing. And that is something that they follow from kindergarten all the way to first grade. And they go from basic phonics, one-to-one letter sound association, where letter A sounds A, letter S sounds S, letter T sounds T, to more complex graphemes where they can say, okay, double O can sound OO, double E can sound E, IGH can sound I, okay, and so on. We keep building on top of that until they reach all the consonant digraphs, the vowel teams, R control patterns, also the VCE patterns. Then we move into common and less common patterns. And in second grade, we work on written syllable convention. So we try to attack decoding in a very logical way. And our students can go from the very basic phonemic awareness and learning the alphabetical principle in a very logical way to build their phonics skills more and more from kindergarten to first grade and then to second grade. And here on the right side of your screen, you can see a little sample of a lesson that we covered with the second graders. That was last year. And our second graders are learning to identify all the small parts of a syllable. When they find a longer word, they just split it into syllables, and they can tell us, okay, the letter E is sounding eh in this word. Or they can say, no, in this word, letter E is it's sounding like this. So when you see the word exciting, it's on the right column of that page. You're gonna see that it's split up in 3 parts. And on top of it, they wrote how that word sounds. So they, you're gonna see that it says I, and the student missed one sound, but then the NG, they're not doing 2 letters for that, because 2 sounds for those letters, because they know that NG, when they work together, they do 1 sound at the end of a word. So we work on a lot of things to be able to have students that are able to decode properly. And that's very important, because one of the trends that we were having as a school was that our students were skipping long words just because they didn't know how to decode them. So we give them all the tools from phonemic awareness to the phonics, advanced phonics, and then being able to decode through the written syllable convention. And that's what we do with Uniscript English in Rock Point Community School. Thank you.
Che Tabahanishle, Tatnesani, Bashish chain, there's a son that should che, a she that should mother. Darlene Jones, A in the Shia, Tensades, De Nasha, Rock Point. I work at Rock Point Community School. I teach the Diné language to students K to 5th grade daily. Each class come to my classroom for 45 minutes. I also teach Uniscript, which I will be explaining and demonstrating today. Oops. Let's get. So right here, I'm going to be demonstrating lesson 1, low tone, short vowels. I'm missing one, am I not? Sen. The neck echiko, not in tinige. Sen. Ado, a. Ado, a bet. That it's age, as ni that it's age. Nana di yandi haze ant hegi epic how that it's Jodi ge et asha halat na halon. Hazet or yo aunt eda. Ebony na di get chodel en hilla. to know it asa na it zon halong ado na kigo na it zogo na halong hala chudaji chudele ado tra go tra hala na it zon halong judej chage ye go ant so de is gonna ze ant do lesh de na kibiga ha ado in da tra biga ha do lesh. So Ado, what I just explained is the lines represent the air flowing freely from your mouth. The straight lines represents the low tone. The number of lines represent the opening of your mouth. This one, the straight line, your mouth is almost closed. And then the medium open, the is open, wide. Nana kwege so ado be nan tinige sen asni iditsa sen ado kwe kwe ditsa di kwege di ditsa dole ado kwe abe kwe nashage abe ado ditsa kwege abe na ditsa dole ado di seto kwe nas pasigi bikaho di na halon na kid hala judesnigi ado haze nas pasquege dole. So what I explain here is when I'm explaining to the kids, I say 2 lines represent the median open mouth. The circle under the lines represent the rounded lips. So the medium open rounded lips dole. So kwege seto ado kuyata bijige seto kwanana dole ado in that art he nelo I'll go over the whole 4 sounds so we'll say sen sen ado kwe sen ado ado abe seto. And then the lines represent the air flowing freely in your mouth. That's the The straight lines represents the low tone. The number of lines represent the opening of your mouth. The circle under the lines represent the rounded lips. That's the last part right here. Okay, so this part here, we practice the sound. In each of these rectangles, we practice the sound to make sure we understand and how to use our fingers. So the first part here, so we go and then the next one is it's mixed. So it's So we go through this and practice until we know the different symbols for each sound. Lesson 2. So I go to lesson 2. after they get used to the sound. So now I introduce the consonants after the vowels, the low tone vowels. I go through the consonants. They ba, ba. This one, the symbol is the beginning sound of ba, ba. So here, when we say ba, the lips, we start off with the closed lips, and that's blocking the air flowing. So this diamond here is our lips, ba. So here, again, we say ba, and the word is spelled over here, ba, b. And then we add the vowels to the consonants, b. So we go b, be, ba, bo. Then we go to the next one after we go through that several times. And then we go through here again, be, ba, ba. Then we use nonsense words to practice our sound. So here we have ba, be, ba, be. And then the next word, ba, be, ba, bo. So if we keep practicing that over and over, they get the hang of it and they know how to say the sounds, the words, the nonsense words. Stuck. It's not working. We go through lesson 3 again. Where is that phone? So the next lesson, the next consonant is the be, de, be, de, 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 be. That's the beginning sound of the be. So the symbol is the symbol like the symbol of a mountain. This one represents the tip of the tongue going up, blocking the airflow. De. So again, here we have the de, be. So on the side, de, be. Then we go de. So de, da, do. Then here again, we have the symbol of the tip of the tongue. So de. Here I tell the kids, put your tongue behind your teeth. Then say de with the vowel here, de. And then be, de be, de be. Then we go through the nonsense words again. The kids, they like doing this. So it's da. So now they have an idea about which vowels have what sounds. So da, de, da, de, da, de. And then we keep on going, and then we mix up the consonants because we already learned b. So it's ba, de. So we go to the next. So we practice the nonsense words. The next one is the high tone. High tone. Lesson 4. Short vowels, high tone. Like masse, masse, she, ke, Allah, Allah. ultka, ultka. Here you have to pay attention to your throat. When you produce a high tone vowel, you can feel more tension and your throat moving up. So we use our finger again, one finger, but it's on top. The low tone is here, the high tone is up here. So we go oh. So here, the lines represent the air flowing freely in your mouth. The lines pointing up representing the high tone. The circle under the lines represent the rounded lips. The number of lines represent how open your mouth is. So here, almost closed, high tone. So it's medium open, high tone, open, high tone, and then medium, high tone, rounded lips. We have and then mosse, out of here, ka, Allah, Allah. Then ultka, ultka. And we repeat everything that we've learned in those pictures or with one slides. So we repeat everything here again. Mosse, ka, Allah, Allah, Allah. Ultka, ultka. Then we go over the nonsense words again. Lesson 5. Here is gah, gah. So some kids, they don't know the animals or what pictures we have on here. They have to learn what their names are. So here, some probably don't know what gah is, so we have to say gah. Then we introduce the first sound. This one, ah. And here I tell them this is like the back of your mouth. That's where your tongue is going to be curled up. So I tell them to pay attention to where their tongue is when they're saying gah, gah at the beginning. Like here, back of the tongue going up, blocking the airflow. This is like Hogan. It's like a Hogan. So again, now we have the low tone vowels and the high tone vowels. So we say both of them. Gah. So now we say gi, ga, 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 go, go. Then we go through the nonsense words. Now we have more consonants and 2 kinds of vowels. Ye, de, right here. Ye, de, ga, ba. Here we introduce, I introduce ma'i. So now we're going to the sound, ma'i, the beginning sound, ma'i. And this is the symbol for the beginning sound. Now here, the air is coming from the nose, so there are 2 dots right there, nasal. So here again, closed lips, blocking the airflow. Air escapes through the nose, and there's a diamond under clouds. That's the traditional. So again here, ma'i, ma'i, me, ma, mo. Then here, ma'i, ma'i. Then we go over the nonsense words. Me, de, Then mo, be, ma, da. And until we go through the end. Lesson 7, na, da, beginning sound. This is the symbol for as you can tell. Here I asked them, what was this for? By this time they know that this is the tip of the tongue. So I asked them, what was this? What does this represent? Where is your tongue? So they tell me where my tongue is. And what are the 2 dots? So here they already know by now. And what sound? So here, tip of the tongue going up, air escapes through the nose. And here, na da, de, ne, na, no, no. And here, na da. Then here again. Here they start trying on their own. Ne, de, ne, ba. And then here, lesson 8. Here we go through the pictures first. So here I'm going to be introducing nasal vowels, nasalized vowels. So accent, so I kind of have to stress the accent. Second, tangi, then con. So the nasal sounds, the air flows through the nasal cavity and oral cavity. You can feel a little vibration in your nose. So here, so now this time it's one finger and you touch the nose. That just symbolizes there's a connection here with the nasal and the opening of the mouth. So it's then and So then I go through it again. So here, the lines represent the air flowing freely in your mouth. The straight lines represent the low tone. The circle under the lines represent the rounded lips. The number of lines represent the opening of your mouth. The 2 dots represent the air flowing through the nose. So it's in here, we put them all together. Accent. Second. Then tangi. Con. Then accent. Second. Tangi. Con. Then we practice the nonsense words. Lesson 9, sis. The beginning sound, the tip of the tongue rises, the air escapes with hissing sound. So this is like, it's like the sound of the wind. So sis. So here, se. Then sa, sa, son, 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 son. So the last vowel that's introduced is the third vowel that we add to the consonant. And then here, sis. Then we practice the nonsense word. Now we add the s, sa, ge, sake, se, de, sete, se, ba, seba. And keep on going until we go to the end. Lesson 10, shh, shush, shush, shh, shh. This is like you're showing your teeth when you say shh, shush. So that blade of the tongue rises, the air escapes with shush, shush, shushing sound. Shh. Traditionally, culturally, it's like rain. The sound is like rain touching the ground. So here, shh, shush, shush. Now here we add the vowels to the consonant sh, 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 sha, 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 sho, sho, sho. That's the end of my presentation for Navajo Uniscript.
Hello, I guess it is my turn. I am going to go ahead and share screen again to one of the videos that we have.
Have you ever imagined that you could use the symbols of your traditional culture to help revitalize and preserve your language? That is exactly what we are doing at Rock Point Community School here in Arizona. We are using Uniscript symbols to teach the pronunciation of Navajo, our heritage language.
Nana sha.
We are also using Uniscript to improve the teaching of English. Uniscript helps with phonemic awareness, phonics, and word analysis.
Our control.
Good, Chase.
Very good.
Okay, here. We forgot the
vowel.
There's a vowel right here. What are we supposed to do after that?
Bridge.
We chop here. Let's think like Quinty was thinking. If we chop here, it's gonna be open. It's gonna say sighty. Sit.
Open.
Uniscript at Rock Point Community School, cracking the code for heritage, language revitalization, and English learners.
Okay, so that is our short video regarding the Uniscript. You learned about Uniscript English. You also got some lessons on Uniscript Navajo. I'm going to be talking a little bit on the cultural side and some of the work behind it. So we have the majority of our students that are monolingual English speakers. They're Navajo kids who are monolingual English speakers. So here at Rock Point, we're trying to revitalize Navajo as a language, a functional language that children can use with each other, with their families, and within the community. So and according to research, it says that you need about 700 to 1,000, over 1,000 hours of Navajo language exposure for them to learn. And that's with full intent and full focus on the language, that you would need that many hours for a child to become, to have basic proficiency in Diné language. We're only talking about basic proficiency in Diné language. And at school, we don't have those many hours, especially with schools who teach maybe 30 minutes to an hour daily. That only adds up to about 600 hours from a K to 12 program. And that's not enough to become even proficient at the basic proficiency level. So the Uniscript Navajo was developed to kind of like become a catalyst in developing language. Uniscript Navajo can be used in several ways. It can be used as a pronunciation guide, which is how what we are talking about right now. It can also be used to get Navajo speaking Navajos who are not literate in Navajo to become literate in Navajo. So there are several different ways to the usage for Uniscript Navajo, but specifically at Rock Point, we are doing it as a pronunciation guide, because according to the surveys that we did with children and families, they said that some of the Navajo sounds are very hard to make, and children, when they try to make that, the parents or other family members laugh at them. And that's not what we want happening. And as a result, the students shut down and they don't even try to learn Navajo anymore. So we're using this pronunciation guide, Uniscript Navajo, as a way to speed up that process, to get them over that hump of not being able to make these Navajo sounds. And the way they make the Navajo sounds is how Ms. Jones and Mr. Cruz just talked about, as far as how the mouth is and where the airflow is and where the point of articulation and so forth is to make these sounds. So what we do is, because at the beginning I said that they're stronger and they're monolingual, monolingual English kids, and they're Navajo, and they have no knowledge of Navajo language, or they're not proficient in the language. So we start with the strong language of English. They're familiar with the English sounds, they already speak it. We introduce Uniscript English, they become familiar with sound symbols in English language, and we take that concept of sound symbols into Navajo. And for some, we use the same symbols. Some of the vowels are the same symbols. The concept is the same. So when they see the sound symbols in Navajo, they're somewhat already familiar, and they know that the symbol that they look at represents what the mouth is doing, where the air is flowing and so forth, and what part of the mouth the sound is coming from. Is it the lip or all the way back to the throat or in between? So they know that concept is transposed into Navajo. So the origin of Navajo language, they said that it started with the earth Nosan, the sounds that the Nosan makes, and then the sounds that come from the air, and then the sounds that come from water, and the sounds that come from kont, which is fire. So Nosan, Neche, To, and Kont, they all make their sounds. And in a miraculous way, the four elements combined and they took this and put it into the mouths of Navajo to produce the Navajo language. So that's the cultural perspective of the origin of the Ne language. So with that, you will see that there are these symbols that closely relate to our culture, as Ms. Jones did mention. So this one here, it has a solid base and then kind of like a mountain peak that Ms. Jones talked about. That is your the tip of your tongue pointing upwards, and that's the nasal sound. However, from the cultural perspective also, that also means that we have stability. We want to have stability in the language. So we develop this, in Navajo, we call it tzil. Tzil also has two meanings. It means the mountain, but the underlying meaning of the mountain or tzil is actually strength and stability. So that so this represents that. So when kids take a look at this sound symbol, they know that their language also means strength and has strength in it. So those are some of the concepts that we want them to have. So this is one example of an earth sound, and it represents the mountain. Okay, so now here we have the tip of the tongue again with an opening, because the Navajo, they say that you always try to keep an opening somewhere. When the rugs that that our women weave, they always leave an opening. They don't make it completely perfect, because that little opening is a way out in case you come upon some difficulty and you feel like you're cornered. There's always a way out. So with the language being on the downfall as far as speakers are concerned, we always want a way out of that issue or that trouble or that problem, so that we could develop more speakers. So that's what this opening represents. And then here's the airflow. So this would be the T sound, which could be one of the air sounds. Well, this is the earth sound. In others, we have the, this is it's one of the more difficult sounds to make in Navajo. So that's one of the sounds for fire, the fire sounds. One of the other sounds that I don't have in here is water, which is the sh sound. And Miss Jones talked about how the sounds for that work, and that would be here, the rain coming down and then hitting the earth. So as the rain comes down and hits the earth, it makes that shh sound, and that would be an example of a water sound. So with that, there are also 9 basic sounds, and you see the sh sound here. So you see the earth sounds, you see the water sounds here, you see the air sounds here, and then you also see I don't see the fire sound. This is so the fire sounds will be those would be the fire sounds. And so in a way, this, when the students take a look at this, then they would be able to see that as they see the written symbols, that they would see their culture. So in here, this is your tongue pointing upwards, a little bit of your tongue to the side to make that l sound. Oh, as in lachish. And then here's the same one, the tongue pointing out, but more of the side of the tongue is pushed out, forcing more air and on the sides, making the sound as in she. So those are some of the earth sounds that we have. And so again, it goes back to the origin of the Navajo language. So there are 9 basic Navajo sounds. The rest are combinations. For example, this one here is the t. sound, and that's a glottal. Combined together makes it the t sound. Here's the t sound, and then we have the sh sound to make the sh sound. So you start with the t and end with the sh sound to make a ch. So that's a basic symbol. This is a basic symbol combined together makes it that. So in Navajo, the rest of the, I believe there were 35 sounds altogether, 9 basic sounds, the rest are all just combinations. So that's one example of how we also try to speed up the process. Some of those 9 Navajo basic sounds are the same as in English. So we start with those first, and then similar sounds in Navajo that exist in English, and then completely different sounds. And we have those different phases of language learning. So again, to try to speed up the process and get over that hump of pronunciation so that the students can continue to learn. So here's an example of some of the things that we do. At this school, we try to get the students to to develop a strong positive Indigenous identity and active involvement in their cultural community, have spirituality, understand their role to the family and community, and then demonstrate that, develop their cognitive skills, which includes part of language learning and cultural learning, and then understand and respect their physical development through exercise and so forth. So a lot of these are set up in that way. So I just wanted to add that, the cultural piece to that. I won't go over the 5 rubrics on how we set up the school. So I just wanted to add a few cultural notes here. So we have a hehe right here, and then and a glottal stop, a hehe. And then in English, Uniscript English, thank you. So that concludes our presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay safe out there and be well.